There's a moment after a divorce that no one talks about. Not the day she packs her bags. Not the day she signs the papers. Not even the first night you sleep alone. The real moment, the one that shatters her world, comes quietly, silently, invisibly. And it doesn't happen when she loses you. It happens when she finally realizes what she walked into. Because here's the truth every man must hear. When a woman leaves a marriage, she isn't stepping into freedom. She's stepping into a psychological storm she never saw coming. On the outside, she looks radiant, posting quotes about new beginnings, taking cute brunch photos, writing captions about healing, smiling like she just unlocked a new chapter. But behind that smile is something far darker, a growing fracture between the story she tells the world and the reality she's about to face. While you're sitting alone, replaying everything, she's being celebrated, validated, lifted up by friends who promise her that life will be magical on the other side. But illusion has an expiration date. And when it ends brutally. Because the moment she steps out of the marriage, she doesn't just lose you, she loses the emotional universe that shaped her identity for years. She loses the gravitational pull that kept her grounded. She loses the man she used as her reference point for every decision, every fear, every dream, every version of the future she imagined. She thinks she's escaping a relationship. She doesn't realize she's walking away from stability and straight into a world that doesn't care about her feelings, her history, or the fantasy she built in her head. And here's what will shock you the most. The psychological collapse doesn't come fast. It comes slow, quiet, layer by layer, like a building sinking into its own foundation. And by the time she realizes it, you won't be the same man she thought she could run back to. Because men break differently. Men rebuild differently. Men rise differently. This is the part nobody warns her about. And it's the part every man needs to understand. Today, we're going deep, not into karma, not into revenge fantasies, but into the actual psychological journey she experiences after she walks away from a marriage she thought she didn't need. What happens to a wife after divorce will shock you, not because she suffers, but because of what she finally sees. Let's begin. She thought she was walking into liberation. But what she actually walked into was a fantasy with an expiration date. When a woman leaves a long marriage, the very first thing she feels isn't regret. It isn't guilt. It isn't loss. It's euphoria. A psychological high so powerful that it blinds her to everything waiting around the corner. This is the honeymoon phase, not with another man, not with a new life, but with herself. For the first time in years, she wakes up believing she made the bold, heroic, empowered choice. Her friends feed her this story like it's gospel. You're so strong. You deserve better. You're finally free. You're glowing. And she absorbs every word because she needs to. Her entire identity now depends on it. The first few weeks, maybe even months, feel intoxicating. She redecorates the house, buys new clothes, changes her hair, joins a yoga studio, downloads dating apps just to look. Every little action becomes an emotional shot of dopamine, a self-reward for escaping the marriage. She believes she has reinvented herself, She believes she has stepped into a better future. She believes she is rising. But what she doesn't realize is this: she isn't rising. She's floating. And floaters always fall, because eventually gravity returns. The illusion of freedom is powerful not because it is real, but because it shields her temporarily from the truth she's not ready to face. See, for years, you were her emotional anchor, even in conflict. You were the constant, the man she could blame, lean on, react to, push against, depend on, criticize, and interpret her life through. Your presence, good or bad, was the structure of her psychological world. Now that structure is gone, but her mind hasn't caught up yet. She still thinks removing you means removing the pain. She believes detaching from the marriage means detaching from responsibility. She assumes walking away means walking into clarity. Instead, she's walking into a blank emotional landscape she has never navigated alone. But in the early phase, she cannot see this. Why? Because she gets flooded with attention. And here's the brutal truth. Female attention after divorce is like junk food: quick, exciting, addictive, but empty, shallow, and dangerous in large doses. Old friends hype her up. New men hit her inbox. Dating apps overflow with matches. Every message becomes validation she interprets as confirmation that she made the right choice. Look how many people want me. Look how good I look now. Look at my new life. But she mistakes novelty for value, attention for intention, desire for commitment. What she doesn't understand yet is that most of these men aren't seeing her. They're seeing opportunity, and opportunities, especially on dating apps, are infinite. Meanwhile, the real world, she must eventually face bills, loneliness, emotional responsibility, single-parent stress, and the absence of a true partner remains untouched behind the curtain. She thinks she's stepping into freedom, but she's actually stepping into distraction disguised as empowerment. And distraction is temporary, because the truth she's avoiding is this: leaving a marriage isn't emotionally freeing, it's emotionally disorienting. Every routine she had, every decision she made, every future vision she held, all of it was constructed with you in the background. Now she has to rebuild an entire psychological universe from scratch while pretending she's thriving. So she throws herself into the illusion harder. More girls' nights, more selfies, more quotes about self-love, more dating, more reinvention. But here's the catch: everything she's doing requires energy, and energy runs out. Eventually, the excitement fades. The compliments repeat. The dates blur. The novelty becomes noise. And one ordinary afternoon, maybe while folding laundry, maybe while scrolling TikTok, maybe while sitting alone in a quiet house, a small, unwelcome thought slips into her mind: why doesn't this feel as good as I thought it would? She pushes it away immediately. She has to. Admitting doubt now would mean admitting she miscalculated everything, and her entire self-image is built on believing she made the right choice. So she doubles down. More reinvention, more distraction, more performance. because that's what the illusion of freedom is, a performance. She's not living a new life. She's acting out a new identity, one that requires constant emotional maintenance to keep the truth from leaking through the cracks. And the truth is simple: she didn't leave you for a better life. She left you for the idea of a better life. An idea she created, an idea her friends reinforced, an idea the world applauded. But ideas don't pay emotional debts. Ideas don't erase loneliness. Ideas don't rebuild stability. The illusion works until it doesn't, and when it breaks, not if, but when everything she tried to avoid will come rushing back with twice the force. Because the problem was never you. The problem was the story she told herself about what life without you would be. A story that is about to crack, and cracks, once they appear, never go away. Every fantasy eventually meets reality, and reality always wins. The awakening doesn't hit her like a lightning strike. It doesn't happen in one dramatic moment. It arrives slowly, quietly, like a crack spreading across glass, almost invisible at first, then impossible to ignore. It starts with something small. A date. Her first real one since the divorce. He's charming, well-dressed, successful, funny. He checks every box her friends told her she deserved. For 2 hours, she convinces herself this is what freedom looks like: a new beginning, a new man, a new chapter. But then at the end of the night, the illusion collapses. When he leans in, touches her waist, moves confidently like a man who's done this 100 times, she feels something she didn't expect. Nothing. Not excitement, not connection, not passion, just emptiness. Because this man doesn't know her, not who she really is. He doesn't know her nervous habits, her quiet insecurities, her humor, her fears, her history, her emotional wiring, her heart. To him, she's just Friday night. That realization hits like cold water down her spine. And suddenly, the fantasy she's been living in shifts just 1 inch, but enough to make everything feel off. She brushes it off at first. She tells herself, it's just the first date. She pushes away the discomfort, because acknowledging it would mean questioning the decision she fought so hard to justify. So she tries again. Another date. Another conversation. Another attempt at feeling something real. But with every new man, the comparisons begin. Not consciously. She would never allow herself to admit she's thinking about you. But subconsciously, the comparisons are relentless. This new guy talks over her. That one drinks too much. Another one brags. Another one is distant. Another one is eager. Another one is fragile. Another one is intimidating. And without meaning to, she starts asking herself questions she swore she would never ask. Why does he feel so unfamiliar? Why doesn't he understand me the way my husband did? Why is this so exhausting? Why does everything feel so forced? The fantasy was supposed to be easy, exciting, liberating, but instead, it feels like work. She starts noticing patterns she used to ignore. The men giving her attention aren't special. The compliments are recycled. The messages are copy-pasted. The chemistry is artificial. The intentions are shallow. Slowly, her mind begins to shift. What once felt empowering now feels hollow. What once felt exhilarating now feels draining. What once felt like a new beginning now feels like walking in circles. And here's the part she will never admit out loud. She starts missing the simplicity of being understood. Not necessarily missing you, not yet, but missing the version of herself that existed when she was with someone who actually knew her. Someone who saw her. Someone who understood her moods. Someone whose presence didn't require performance. Someone who knew her stories, her rhythms, her rough edges, her softness. Someone familiar. And that's the moment the awakening begins. She realizes that strangers can desire her, but strangers can't know her. They can want her body, but they cannot carry her soul. So she keeps going out, keeps pretending she's thriving, keeps chasing the validation she swore she didn't need. But every compliment sounds the same. Every date feels shallow. Every kiss feels wrong. Every laugh feels forced. Every morning feels heavier. Her friends don't see it. Her social media doesn't show it. Her pride won't allow it. But internally she's exhausted, emotionally drained from maintaining the illusion, mentally tired from pretending the new world is better than the old one, spiritually empty in a way she can't explain. And slowly, painfully, quietly, you begin to look different in her memory. Not perfect, not idealized, not flawless, but real, grounded, human, stable. You were safe. You were consistent. You were familiar. You were home. And home is something people only understand once they've lost it. She remembers your quirks. She remembers your reliability. She remembers your flaws with softer edges. She remembers your care with greater clarity. She doesn't say it. She doesn't allow herself to think it fully. But the truth is already forming inside her. Maybe I miscalculated. Maybe I made a mistake. Maybe I didn't know how good I had it. But she won't admit this yet. Her ego won't let her. Her pride won't let her. Her social circle won't let her. So, instead of facing the truth, she pushes deeper into denial. More dates. More validation. More distractions. More reinvention. Yet the awakening continues slowly, steadily, silently. She is beginning to see the cracks in the story she told herself. And once cracks appear, they never stop spreading. The illusion is fading. Reality is rising. And she's about to face the one thing she's been running from since the day she left: the truth. Denial keeps her afloat for a while, but panic is what finally drags her underwater. By month 6, maybe month 8, the illusion begins collapsing in slow motion. Not with a bang, not with a meltdown, but with a deep, quiet heaviness she can't shake off. This is the point where she stops pretending to others and starts pretending to herself. The dating rush has worn off. The excitement feels repetitive. The compliments feel recycled. Her friends' cheers feel scripted. Her social media glow-up feels like a costume. And without warning, something changes inside her. The world feels heavier. The same activities that once made her feel empowered now feel draining. The independence she celebrated now feels isolating. The silence she once mistook for peace now feels suffocating. And then comes the moment every divorced woman eventually faces. She has to sit alone with her own thoughts. No distractions, no validation, no new man to fantasize about. No friends telling her she's a queen, just her, and the consequences she never saw coming. The panic has triggers, not dramatic ones, simple, ordinary moments with devastating psychological weight. Trigger Hashon, the disappointing date. The fourth guy this month cancels last minute. The fifth one makes a crude joke. The sixth one ghosts her after sleeping together. And suddenly, the narrative she built starts shaking. Why is this so hard? Why does everything feel empty? Why do I keep attracting the wrong men? But the real question, the one her mind avoids, is this: why does no one feel like him? Her subconscious is already answering, but her pride won't allow her to hear it. Trigger #2, the kids. If you have children together, this phase hits even harder. The kids start acting out. Grades drop. Behavior changes. Nightmares begin. They ask questions she can't answer. Why isn't Dad here? Why can't we be together again? What happened? And each question slices through the story she told herself. I did this for my happiness. I did this for a better life. I did this because he wasn't enough. Now she sees something terrifying. The happiness she chased has created instability she can't control. She realizes she didn't just divorce you. She divorced the family structure that once held everything together. Trigger #3, Sunday nights. This one is brutal. Sunday night is where loneliness comes to collect its debt. The weekend energy fades. The kids are asleep or at your place. The house feels too quiet. The bed feels too large. Her phone is silent. Her future feels small. She sits there, scrolling through photos, messages, old videos, wondering how something that felt so full became so empty. And in that silence, panic whispers, what if I ruined my life? The psychology behind her. Spiral panic sets in because she's facing two realities that cannot coexist. Reality 1. I left because I believed I'd be happier. Reality 2. I'm not happier. I'm worse. Her mind cannot accept both. So she tries rewriting the past again. Maybe he wasn't that bad. Maybe I overreacted. Maybe we could have worked it out. Maybe I shouldn't have listened to my friends. This is where regret starts forming, not fully, not openly, but quietly underneath her denial. The panic doesn't just come from loneliness. It comes from the horrifying realization that all the doors she thought would open aren't opening. The new life she imagined isn't materializing. The dating market she romanticized is brutal. The friends she relied on are fading away. The emotional high she chased has evaporated. She has moved from fantasy into scarcity. When scarcity hits, panic becomes unavoidable. The collapse of the performance. By now, every "I'm living my best life" post feels forced. Every smile feels practiced. Every girl's night feels repetitive. Every morning she wakes up with a little less enthusiasm. She feels it. She hides it. She denies it. But internally, the panic is loud. What did I do? Why doesn't anyone love me the way he did? What if no one ever will again? Why does he look happier? Why am I the one falling apart? And the most painful thought of all, why did he become a better man after? I left your glow-up, your growth, your strength, your discipline. Your healing becomes psychological torture for her, not because she hates your improvement, but because she realizes she no longer has access to it. She wanted freedom, but not this kind. Not the kind where she watches you evolve while she silently crumbles. Panic reaches its peak when she finally understands she didn't escape a bad life. She abandoned a stable one. She didn't leave a failing marriage. She left her emotional anchor. She didn't lose a husband. She lost her home. And her mind is no longer strong enough to deny it. This is the downfall of the fantasy. This is the breaking of the illusion. This is the panic she never saw coming. Denial keeps her safe for a while, but reality always comes to collect its debt. There is a moment, usually around the first year, sometimes a little earlier, sometimes brutally late, when the fantasy she built can no longer hold the weight of her real life. This is the reckoning phase. It doesn't arrive with fireworks. It arrives quietly, like a whisper in the dark, followed by a collapse she cannot outrun. Up until now, she has relied on stories to protect herself. Stories about her bravery. Stories about new beginnings. Stories about how leaving was the right choice. Stories her friends cheered for. Stories social media applauded. But here, in the reckoning phase, the stories stop working because reality finally steps in. The illusion breaks. She built her new life on imagined possibilities, the better man, the better future, the better version of herself. But fantasies can only survive without pressure, and now life applies pressure everywhere. Her children are unsettled. Her dating life is exhausting. Her friendships are fading. Her finances are strained. Her emotional world is unstable. Her nights are long and quiet. Her illusions begin to crack in places she can no longer ignore. This is the first time she sees the full picture, not the filtered one she posted. Not the encouraging version her friends fed her, but the raw, unedited reality she must live with every single day. Psychological conflict, two truths she cannot hold at once. Her mind is now trapped between two opposing realities. Truth has shown, I made the right decision, leaving. This is the identity she's built for months. Her self-esteem depends on it. Her social circle reinforced it. Her ego demands it. Truth, #2. My life is objectively worse now. She feels more alone than ever. Dating is a wasteland. Her support system is shrinking. The happiness she expected still hasn't come. You, ironically, are doing better than before. These two truths cannot coexist. But admitting the second means destroying the first. So her mind enters psychological warfare with itself. Every night feels like a negotiation. Every emotion feels like a contradiction. Her thoughts become a battlefield logic. Ego, regret, fear all colliding at once. She is no longer running from the marriage. She is running from the consequences of ending it. Emotional breaking point, the collapse of the narrative. There is always a breaking moment. A single crack that becomes a fracture, and a fracture that becomes a collapse. It usually looks like this: a disastrous date, a lonely Sunday night, a harsh comment from her child, a financial setback, a friend abandoning her, seeing you genuinely happy. But it doesn't matter what triggers it. It only matters what it reveals. She isn't the hero she imagined. She's the architect of her own downfall. For the first time, she allows a forbidden thought to slip through. Did I ruin everything? This thought terrifies her. Not because she misses you, but because it threatens her entire sense of self. Her identity cannot survive the admission that she miscalculated her future. So she spirals. Some cry. Some numb themselves. Some distract. Some lash out. Some text you. Some stalk your social media. Some rewrite history to make themselves feel less guilty. But all of them feel the same thing internally, the sinking fear that they traded stability for a fantasy. Core truth: the market does not care about her story. This is the moment she realizes something brutal. The world will not treat her better just because she left you. Men do not suddenly line up with devotion. Quality men do not compete for her. Attention does not equal commitment. Desire does not equal loyalty. Matches do not equal options. For months, she believed she was stepping into a world full of abundance. But the reckoning phase forces her to face cold, impersonal reality. She's older now. She has children. She has baggage. She has responsibilities. She has less emotional energy. She has fewer long-term prospects. And men her age want younger women. Men her age with stability have options. Men without stability want to use her. Men looking for commitment want simplicity, not complexity. For the first time, she understands. She misjudged her value in the dating market because she confused familiarity with abundance. She didn't leave for a better life. She left for an imagined one. New lens, she revisits the marriage with new eyes. When regret begins to form, memory becomes distorted. Suddenly, you look different through the rearview mirror. You weren't as inattentive as she told herself. You weren't as flawed as she insisted. You weren't the villain the story needed you to be, Tomb. You weren't the reason for all the problems. And here is the psychological twist. The man she remembers is no longer the man you actually were, but the man she wishes she had appreciated. Memory idealizes what regret cannot accept. She recalls your stability, your reliability, your presence, your loyalty, your love, your patience, your commitment, your growth. And, worst of all, she sees you improving without her. This is when the panic evolves into remorse. And remorse evolves into longing. And longing evolves into a question she hates herself for asking. Did I walk away from the best man I ever had? Brutal realization, she didn't just lose you. She lost the version of herself that only existed with you. This is the essence of the reckoning phase. She realizes. She lost her emotional anchor. She lost the stability she once despised. She lost the partner she could rely on. She lost the man who knew her history. She lost the home she took for granted. She lost the identity she built as a wife. She lost the future she assumed would wait for her. But the darkest realization is this: she cannot go back to who she was, and she cannot move forward without confronting what she's done. She traded a real life for a fantasy. And the fantasy is gone. What remains is the wreckage she must now live in. She didn't just lose a marriage. She lost the woman she was inside it. There is a part of divorce that almost no one understands. even the woman living through it. It is not sadness, regret, or even loneliness. It is something far deeper, far more destabilizing, something that reaches into the core of who she is. It is the collapse of identity. Because when she left the marriage, she didn't just walk away from a man. She walked away from the psychological system that shaped her for years. And now, piece by piece, that system is crumbling. The identity crisis begins quietly. During the marriage, whether she realized it or not, her entire sense of self was built around the framework of partnership. Every decision, every routine, every plan for the future existed inside the gravitational pull of us. Even her independence was defined in relation to you. She never had to stand alone in the world because she always had a reference point. She had structure, predictability, emotional anchoring. When she walked away, she told herself she was reclaiming freedom. But the truth is that she stripped away the foundation of her identity without having anything to replace it with. She expected a new version of herself to appear immediately, as if identity is something a person can build on demand. Instead, she wakes up as someone she no longer recognizes. She speaks but doesn't feel like herself. She looks in the mirror and sees a woman disconnected from her own reflection. She didn't just lose a relationship, she lost her psychological grounding. Then comes the phantom relationship syndrome. Just like people who lose a limb still feel it. Women who leave long marriages keep feeling the presence of a man who is no longer there. She reaches for her phone to text you before remembering you're gone. She hears a joke and instinctively turns to share it with you. She gets groceries and automatically grabs the brand you liked. She walks through her day expecting a familiar presence that no longer exists. These are not romantic moments. They are neurological echoes. Her mind spent years wiring itself around you. Those pathways do not vanish just because she made a decision. Her ego knows she left, but her subconscious doesn't. And every phantom moment becomes a reminder of what she lost, not just you, but the identity built around being with you. Over time, her social world begins to shrink. In the early days, her friends were the loudest supporters of her decision. They praised her courage, encouraged her independence, fueled the narrative that she deserved something better. But enthusiasm has an expiration date. As weeks and months pass, the dynamic shifts. Her married friends begin to distance themselves, not because they dislike her, but because she is now a threat, a reminder that marriages end and roles can change. Invitations fade. Conversations become less intimate. She slowly becomes the outsider. Her single friends, who she thought would be her new tribe, turn into silent competitors. They are all navigating the same dating pool. And she quickly realizes she is not entering it from a position of advantage. Her friends' patience thins, their support wanes, and their loyalty becomes conditional. She discovers something painful: they supported her decision, but they do not support the consequences. And as isolation settles in, emotional numbness follows. This is the quietest phase, often mistaken for healing. But numbness is not healing. It is the mind shutting down to survive overwhelming psychological conflict. After months of pretending to be happy, After maintaining a narrative she no longer believes. After realizing that freedom feels more like free fall, her emotional system finally gives out. She stops crying, stops hoping, stops feeling anything deeply. Not because she no longer cares, but because caring would force her to confront a truth she cannot handle. She made a catastrophic mistake she cannot take back. This numbness becomes her protective shield. It is her psyche pulling the emergency brake to keep her from collapsing under the weight of regret and confusion. She moves through her days like a ghost, functioning but disconnected. The world feels flat. Joy feels distant. Meaning feels unreachable. And beneath all of this lies the deepest truth of the collapse. She didn't just lose a man. She lost the version of herself that only existed with him. You weren't just her husband. You were her grounding, her anchor, her emotional mirror, her witness in life. Without that, she is not just alone, she is identityless. She is trapped between two selves, the woman she left behind and the woman she hoped to become, neither of which fully exist anymore. This is the collapse of identity, and nothing breaks her more than realizing it. There comes a moment after divorce, long after the noise dies down and the excitement fades, when a woman is forced to confront the one truth she spent months, sometimes years, trying to outrun. A truth so heavy, so irreversible, that accepting it feels like swallowing something sharp. It doesn't happen during the honeymoon phase of singlehood. It doesn't happen during the chaotic rebound dating. It doesn't even happen during the panic or the numbness. It happens when reality grows louder than her narrative. And that moment arrives for every woman who walked away, believing she would find something better. The painful truth is this: she didn't just lose you. She lost the life that was built around you. A life she can never return to, not even if she wanted to. At first, she believed she was stepping into a brighter future. But with time, she begins to understand something deeper, something far more unsettling. The version of herself she imagined becoming never arrived. Instead, she is stuck in the space between who she thought she was and who she actually became. This realization isn't sudden. It builds slowly, like a storm forming at the edge of the horizon. She sees a father playing with his kids at the park, and a thought hits her, a quiet, unexpected whisper. Why didn't I fight harder for what I had? She hears a couple arguing gently but lovingly in a grocery store and feels a pang of unfamiliar longing. She sees an older woman dining alone, and something in her chest tightens. These aren't regrets. They are recognitions of a truth she has run from for too long. She didn't improve her life. She fractured it. Now she must live with the fragments. Over time, her understanding of the divorce shifts dramatically. In the beginning, it was a choice made from emotion, frustration, ego, or exhaustion. But now, with distance and hindsight, she finally sees the full picture. She didn't leave because she was unhappy. She left because she believed happiness would be easier somewhere else. She was wrong. The world she stepped into isn't softer. It isn't kinder. It isn't filled with better men, better chances, or better futures. It is harsher, colder, and infinitely less forgiving. What she once took for granted, stability, partnership. Shared purpose now feels like a luxury she can no longer access. And here is where the painful truth deepens. She didn't walk away from you. She walked away from the only version of herself capable of real partnership. The woman she is now is not the woman she was then. Divorce aged her emotionally in ways she didn't expect. Her confidence took hits she didn't anticipate. Her dating value shifted more suddenly than she believed possible. Her inner world grew heavier, more uncertain, more guarded. She is not who she used to be, and she mourns that quietly. But the cruelest part, she also mourns the version of you she sees now. Because whether you know it or not, divorce reshaped you too, but in the opposite direction. While she spiraled, you rebuilt. While she sought validation, you found discipline. While she chased excitement, you discovered purpose. While she tried filling her emptiness, you filled your life. Men often rise after heartbreak because pain pushes them into transformation. Women often fall after leaving because the illusion of empowerment masks the erosion of identity. And when her painful truth finally surfaces, it sounds like this: you became the man I always wanted, but you became him without me. That thought haunts her. It haunts her when she sees you healthier, stronger, more grounded. It haunts her when she sees you with your kids, becoming the father she once wished you'd be. It haunts her when she watches you rebuild a life she no longer belongs to. It haunts her when she realizes that the breakup didn't break you, it built you. And here is the final blow. The truth she will never say aloud: you moved on emotionally long before she did. Not because you didn't care, but because you had to survive. She thought leaving would free her. Instead, it freed you. You discovered who you are without her. She discovered she doesn't know who she is without you. This asymmetry is what breaks her most. It's why she checks your profile late at night. It's why she asks mutual friends about you but pretends she doesn't care. It's why she hesitates before deleting old photos. It's why her messages shift between nostalgia, anger, or silence. She isn't trying to reconnect. She's trying to reconcile the truth. The life she abandoned is not waiting for her. The door she closed is no longer unlocked. The man she left behind is gone, replaced by someone stronger, wiser, calmer. A man she no longer has access to. And the most painful truth: she didn't just lose you. She lost the future she could have had with you. A future that now belongs to someone else. She may move on. She may rebuild. She may pretend. But she will never fully escape the emotional shadow of the man who became his best self after she walked away. This is the truth no one tells her. This is the truth she learns too late. And this is the truth every man needs to hear. You were not the end of her life. You were the highlight she didn't know how to keep. Here's the part no one tells men, the part society hides. The part she'll never admit. The part you discover only when everything falls apart. Divorce doesn't break a man. It reveals him. It strips away the noise, the expectations, the compromises, and forces you to face the one question that defines the rest of your life. Who are you when no one is there to validate you? That's where your rebirth begins. Because once you've walked through the fire, the betrayal, the confusion, the silence, the empty house. The nights you thought would never end, something powerful starts to shift inside you. You stop seeking approval. You stop rescuing people who don't value you. You stop apologizing for the man you are becoming. You rise. Not out of anger, not out of revenge, but out of a deeper realization the person she left behind was never your final form. And that's the part she will never understand. She thought she ended your story. What she really did was free you to write a better one. So if you're watching this, if you've been abandoned, betrayed, replaced, or rewritten in her story, remember this truth: you don't heal for her. You heal for the man you're destined to become. A man of discipline, a man of direction, a man of presence, a man who chooses his path, his peace, and his purpose over anyone who took him for granted. You do not chase your past. You build a future that makes your past irrelevant. And when she finally realizes what she lost, when the illusion collapses and the truth burns through, you will already be gone. Too focused on your own evolution to look back. Your power was never in holding on. Your power is in letting go and rising higher than she ever believed you could. If this video opened your eyes, if you felt something in your chest shift, then it's time to take the next step. Don't just listen. Don't just nod. Don't just survive. Transform. Join the men who refuse to stay broken. Join the men who rebuild stronger. Join the men who turn heartbreak into mastery. Inside the community, we go deeper into masculine psychology, deeper into emotional control, deeper into becoming a man who cannot be shaken by loss. One decision, one commitment, a lifetime of growth. Enroll once, grow forever. The link is below. I'll see you on the inside.